Welcome back to the Cheeky Crypto Podcast with your hosts, Mike, JB, and Chris. Many thanks for listening in, liking, and subscribing. If you haven't done so, do us a favor and smash that like and subscribe button and turn on all notifications. We really do appreciate it. If you haven't joined the Discord or Patreon, links in the description down below. A fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. Guarantee you won't be disappointed. And most importantly, it's absolutely free to join. Let's get into some crypto talk. Gentlemen, Bitcoin above 26K. I cannot wait to get y'all's thoughts on what happened today with the CPI and this, that, and the other, and Bitcoin's movement. And oh my God, we're going to the moon. Cannot wait. But anyways, Chris, how are you, my brother?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all good. It feels unusual to have a group of us together. Been doing a lot of these solo, so it's great to have you guys with us.
Yeah, you know, it's much better than doing it solo. Solo's hard, I know it is, but you're the master of solo. You and Nick, I don't know how y'all do it. You guys kill it with some solo stuff, but
I'll tell you now, it's all the fish and chips we eat.
Jokes. That's good. That's a good one. JB, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. Bit of a stressful day today. It's been volatile to say the least. We've obviously seen the moves in the market. It's not been ideal, but you know, Nick kind of called it. This was a potential to happen. We've just got to look at it from a different limelight, why it's happened, and you know where we're potentially still going to be going. My view hasn't changed. We're still going to see, you know, the price of Bitcoin and everything else drop. But I understand obviously the fear that's in the market. Folks seeing the prices move as they have. Emotions are so high. We can see that in the Discord and many of the chats. You can see it in the comments on the on the YouTube videos and things like that. So yeah, bit of a crazy week, and it's not going to slow down anytime soon. Still got more stuff to happen this week. We've got more stuff to happen next week. Just mega emotional times right now.
I mean, right when CPI came out, Facebook comes out and says, hey, we're laying off 10,000 more employees. And we're also closing 5,000 open positions. Zuckerberg, there was a quote Zuckerberg said, and I don't know it exactly, but he basically said that everything that's going on could take years to play out, right? Like everything. So it's going to be interesting. You know, I got Bitcoin's chart up right now. The high we got to was, let's see, 26,386, which is good. Hey, look, if you guys made some money, hell yeah, congratulations. However, if you take a step back and you zoom out, you really look at the grand scheme of things, this shit's going to collapse eventually, right? But shout out to those that made some money. Look, 𝗬's up 30% today, 30%. AGIX up 20%. So alts are rallying. We're all, you know, the world thinks we're going to the moon. Congrats to those that have made some money, but lows are coming, whether we retest the lows or whether we see new lower lows. This is all just what Chris would call another bear market rally, right, Chris?
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, we were purchasing, you know, Patreon members would have seen the alerts for Nick and myself purchasing VeChain and a few other altcoins. And look, you know, we could sell those for a pretty decent profit right now. And,
yeah, you could.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we won't. I mean, we initially bought them for more the long term, but yeah, let's just touch on some of the comments that we see in the YouTube videos, because they're rather interesting. You know, seeing people say, you know, particularly for Nick's videos, does this guy ever get it right? Well, I mean, we called the bottom in June. This was back in May, and obviously all the videos and stuff are there. You can go fact check me if you wish. But, you know, I want to give people a bit of a history lesson, right? Because there was nobody calling that bottom in June apart from us. We called it, we nailed it, and then it happened, and we said that doesn't feel like it's the actual bottom. Again, ridiculed and told to look at this magic indicator and these 7 magical indicators, to which I said they would be all invalidated, mark my words. And in November we saw them all invalidate, and we saw the next lower low, and didn't really want to get into this, you know, we're going to see more lower lows conversation. Nick and myself at the time were saying, let's just not get into that, you know, but we do expect, you know, the market to come down. We did say to expect bear market rallies, and I think that's what we've got right now. We've got some bear market rallies. people were like, well, you've been calling the like a crash. What the fuck did we just see 3 days ago? Yeah, we've seen Bitcoin come from like what, $22,000+ down to like $19,000. Like, that to me is a mini crash.
I feel like we've just witnessed another black swan event, right? Like, the bank collapse has led to the Fed coming out and the FDIC coming out, say, hey, we'll back it. Hey, we'll back the depositors. Okay, you're backing depositors for 2 banks, right? Maybe 3 banks at this point. What happens when 10 banks, 10 more, lose that? Are you still going to continue to back these? What if a big behemoth of a bank, Wells Fargo or Chase or Capital One, something like that, are you going to back those depositors too? If they
do, they're going to have to print.
Yeah, they'll print. So there is a world of unknown, which, once again, congrats to those that have made money. I'm still chilling in cash because this is a scary ass place to be in right now. The rallies are only coming off of news, not because someone wants to buy Bitcoin because they feel like Bitcoin is going to go to 100K right now, right? Like, they're buying on these rallies. And it's funny, right before we got on here, I was on TikTok, and you see BitBoys on there, right? On TikTok. And it's like, finally at 26K and like 400 exclamation points, right? And then there's another guy this morning, I'm not going to say his name, but on Twitter, he's like, can you believe the rally we're in? And Bitcoin had gone up $100. It's the narrative around the world of Twitter, crypto Twitter, is that anytime there's some sort of movement, right? And this is what pisses me off, right? I'll bleep myself out, is that you guys have called so many situations of downtime, hey, we're going to go to lower lows, and you still get no fucking credit. And it pisses me off that all these dumb ass dudes have so many followers and they get so much credit and respect, but they're not, there's never any, like, I don't know. JB, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's they don't get the appropriate acclamation for the calls that they make. But it's time on time on time on time. They tell you the narrative of what's going on in the space. This is what's likely to happen next. This is possible reasons as to why. And in time after time after time, we're seeing targets hit.
Data, right?
Yep. Next sets all these figures that we're going to see for the likes of Bitcoin, and obviously back when he was doing the likes of Ethereum, he was doing a lot of coverage on that. We're seeing these targets getting hit. Chris is saying, watch out for this, that, and the next thing that's going to happen in the space. This, that, and the next thing come to fruition. And yeah, I think you're totally right. They don't get the credit that is deserved for this call.
I think a lot of it is that we're not going with the narrative.
Right.
A lot of the time. I feel like we've called an awful lot of stuff accurately. We called FTX before it collapsed. We saved a lot of people.
Well, that's the big one. That's the big one that I could not, like, the amount of people that you saved money for that you'll never get credit for. You'll never, ever get credit. And I'm giving you credit. JB's giving you credit. Your Discord gives you credit. But the world of Twitter fucking crypto still will not give you the credit that you guys deserve. And look, this is not a fucking podcast to boost Chris's ego and Nick's ego and yada, yada, yada. This is a podcast for me to come on and fucking chit chat some shit. And I'm not scared to say it, right? Like, I just think you guys have done an incredible job of helping your community save a lot of fucking money and stay away from all this bullshit that's out there. I don't know why I'm fired up today, because I got on the podcast in a good mood. But now I'm fired up, and it's frustrating because no matter how many times we'll tweet out, Cheeky Crypto called this, Cheeky Crypto called this, you still don't fucking get it. And I don't need you, Chris, to come in and say, to help back yourself. It's fucking proven. It's in videos, right? Like, time and time again, video after video after video, Nick's data in every single Bitcoin video. I don't see that shit on anybody else's video. Nobody else is proving that. Right?
Yeah, I kind of feel it's a minority, but like the loud minority is a powerful one at points. And my thoughts are always circle around the fact that if you read something or you hear something or you see something enough, it becomes the truth, even if it's not. And I'm really conscious of that. And that's why I kind of want to sort of highlight some of the things that we've, you know, navigated around in this space, because there's people that might watch this and, you know, see a comment and think, well, I won't bother watching anymore. And it's not going to be, you know, the best decision they make. And I think by sort of airing sort of our side of things, you know, I can go further back. You know, we can be quite recent. I mean, look at what's happened with Circle in the last 3 or 4 days, right? And USDC depegging. When people ask me my thoughts and opinions on it, you know, my thoughts were it's going to be safe, but I highlighted the risks that there were in, you know, let's say I was wrong. You know, the risks are that you lose some money, right? The safest thing is to perhaps come out of it, de-risk, if you're in a position where you've got a lot of money there. But ultimately, you know, I put my money where my mouth was. What was I doing? And members will know that, you know, Muggins here went and bought USDC at 91 cents. That's how confident I was that it was going to go back to peg. We talked about the bank stuff. It was a really interesting weekend, actually, for anybody that you know, scours the social platforms. I was on a few different spaces. It was rather interesting seeing prominent, influential people within the finance space, be that property, metals, crypto, stocks, whatever, trying to articulate, you know, what's about to happen. And the vast majority of those individuals had no idea what they were talking about. And I think that, you know, Nick might put out a TA video and everybody's looking at it like, you know, it's the move that's going to happen that day. And that's not always the case. It can be, you know, a much longer kind of play. It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be multiple months. When we say that we're expecting a crash, I'm not saying the crash is going to happen in, you know, 6 hours from now. And I think that's really important to highlight.
Yeah, I think to chime in on that, and JB, I want to get your thoughts, because obviously you're doing a lot of TA for the community and stuff. But you know, I think that's part of it too. Is like when you come out. I mean, I didn't understand it. And at 1 hour chart versus a 4 hour chart versus a daily versus a weekly, the time it takes to play out, right? Like a weekly chart, JB, how long typically, you know, does a weekly chart take to play out?
3 months.
Yeah. So if JB or Nick comes on and does TA and says, hey, we're looking at BTC going to 14K, right? And that's on a macro meaning larger scale. For those that don't understand what macro means, right? Larger scale moves. That doesn't mean tomorrow Bitcoin's going to go to 14K. That means over the course of the next couple of months, the moves, we expect them to go in a certain direction. Am I right, JB? Is that kind of what it means?
Yeah, definitely. Don't get me wrong. Bitcoin could go to 14K tomorrow, the way the market's moved recently.
Yeah, absolutely. It could go to 35K.
It could go to 35K. So you're right what you're saying there. You know, it's like there's estimated timeframes for the likes of the 1 hour, 4 hour, the daily, the weekly. Estimated. There you can see what happened over the last week or two, how quickly institutional candles have dragged the charts up, and it's purely what it is. I don't care what anyone's saying. We've seen obviously a lot of chat about this today. The movements are institutional players, institutional candles that are dragging the price up as quick and as harsh as it can. What I do like to see with this though is how quickly the daily stochastics moved up. It's dragged it all the way up to overbought.
Crazy how fast, within less than 48 hours.
Yes.
Less than 48 hours, a macro chart moved that fucking quickly. That's scary. That should be alarming. If you don't understand what that means, go watch some of the videos Nick has done in the last couple of days explaining how quickly, if stochastic moves like that, it should be a big red flag.
You would look for the stochastic to move slowly, great volumes in price for a good strong move. But for the percentage of price that's moved up, yeah, it's moved up a lot of money. Let's not deny that.
Sure, yeah.
But it's not relative to the movement it's made on the frame. So for like the 1 day to move that quickly with only, was it something like 62%? You know, it's not enough percentage power to draw stochastic up with confidence that, you know, that this is the trend we're in, that this move's going to be sustained. I'm very happy to see it move up. We've seen all the overbought stochastics, the RSI's dragged itself right the way up as well. Really, I'm happy to see that also, because it just confirms that, you know, we are looking for the next move down. Several indicators of, you know, we're going to go back to indicators here. They're all, you know, they're all kind of telling us the same thing. There's so many things going on here. What is very interesting to see, though, is the reemergence here of the Gaussian channel. You know, we've not seen it on the channel for quite a while.
We haven't chatted about that in a while.
Yeah, we've not seen it on the channel for a while. So for now to see, you know, the Gaussian channel to rear its head, very interesting to see what's going to happen there.
Oh, I want to hear more about that.
The last time we did drop into the Gaussian channel, we came out it, and then we went back in, which again, that was a first for Bitcoin in its history. We're now just about to go back in. No, this was before the drop. And we're now inside, but we've not closed inside it. So it's going to be interesting to see if we close, and then if we have another candle close inside it, or if we drop back out. A lot of things going on. It's just so much to, you know, to really be keeping your eyes on right now, relative to the price movements of Bitcoin in particular here.
Some of that might be above a lot of people's heads. And once again, if a lot of that was above your head that JB was just saying, sometimes above my head too, please do yourself a favor and go check out. Chris, what's the link to go to the school? What's the school link?
𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗠𝗠𝗘𝗡.
Yeah, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗠𝗠𝗘𝗏.com. If you want to understand all that shit that JB was just talking about, which is very important knowledge to understand, check out 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗠𝗠𝗘𝗥.com. Great course. 2 courses, I think, maybe even more than that. Something that kind of get your head wrapped around all of this stuff, right? But I just pulled up the daily chart. And it looks like in the last 3 days, we've moved 25%. Okay. That's a big move for Bitcoin. Like, I messaged Chris yesterday and I said, holy shit, 15% in a day. I've never seen it before. But it's all institutional buying, like JB just said. Now, what do we consider institutions? Whales, right? So big, giant, right? So whales are pushing the price up so that the dumb retail, like myself, buy it, right? So that they can exit their position so that we go back down. That's my thoughts, okay, on what's going on. I think the whales are trying to continue to pump this thing up to get out of their positions. And I think we're still going to go back down, obviously. Chris, you had something. We got a lot to talk about today because we're all cutting each other off. And usually that's a good sign on a podcast. Like, people got lots of thoughts. Chris, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off earlier.
No, it's cool. I think there's a lot of, I guess, manipulation, like you're mentioning. Now, I think because the market has contracted and, you know, it's smaller now, it's easier for them to do it, particularly the market makers. So I think that is a lot of what's happening at the moment. I think that we will see everything that we're talking about here, you know, play out. I think that it's going to be rather interesting to see how people adjust through this negative phase that I think we're going to be going through. I mean, I got a text from NatWest today, which is a UK bank. And, you know, I've mentioned not so long ago, I can't remember what bank it was. Maybe one of you guys will remember, that stopped credit card payments. Regardless of which bank it is, I agree with that, right? But what I did say was the next phase will be banks limiting how much you can use with your debit card. So anyway, I get this text message. I shared it in the Discord for anybody who wants to go check it out in the general chat. And basically, they are now limiting my debit card to 1,000 per transaction per day, £5,000 per month. And I, you know, go back, like, I haven't got a fucking crystal ball, believe me, right? Like, but I do question whether some people have actually told me this stuff. Like, yeah, because NatWest have now gone and done that. And I expect
we already have that in the States.
Yeah. But like,
I have to call if I want to use more of my own fucking money. I have to call and be on hold for like fucking 45 minutes to try to be able to spend more money or take more money out. Yeah.
But what they're saying here is, even if I was to do that, I can only have a maximum of 1,000 per day, period. Yeah.
Period.
So the vast majority of people are not doing that, right? In the crypto space, right? The vast majority. But they're going to get away with this because the vast majority aren't impacted. So how many months do you think it'll be before that 1,000 per day becomes 500 per day and 2.5 a month? Yeah. And then gradually, like,
the new way to print money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the banks, I think, if I just circle to my actual point, there's a liquidity issue when it comes to the banking sector, the traditional banking sector, in my opinion. I think that there's a silent war going on between fintech and the traditional banking sector. I think the online banking fintech companies are taking a slice of the pie, and this is leading to liquidity issues. So particularly with crypto leaving the traditional banking system, again, it's just compounding the situation. I expect banks to double down on this, and this is not good for the adoption of crypto, right? So for all those people in the Discord who are like, well, it doesn't impact me. Well, fuck me, it will in a few months' time when they reduce the amount and then eventually ban it. So, people need to be in uproar now. People need to be going to these banks and, leaving these banks and going to the banks that are willing to service customers as what they are, customers. It's your money, and you should be able to come and go freely and do what you wish with that money, to a point. Obviously nothing illegal, but like, if I want to invest in cryptocurrency, and I'm going to invest in cryptocurrency, there is going to be no bank on this earth that stops me from doing that. I just think that people need to wake up and see it for what it is, and see what's happening. If people think that we're in this bull market, you're just kidding yourselves, because this is no bull market.
So I'm going to jump on a couple of these things here. So first of all, just to clean up a little bit of terminology, I fully understand what Mike was saying there, but the whales are not buying, it's the sharks. So The sharks are 100 Bitcoin wallets or over. Whales are 1,000 Bitcoin wallets or over. Again, key bits of information here that I think the wider community should understand. Nick covers it every day on the videos. So, we are seeing these big wallets buying. That's what's obviously caused this pump. Now, coming over to the banks, I did explain to you, I think it was last week, Chris, that I was trying to onboard onto an exchange. I won't tell you the number, it doesn't matter, but it took between 3 and 6 hours to onboard the first amount, then onboarded another amount that was a little bit more, and it took 18 hours to onboard that onto the exchange. So we're seeing the pace that we can onboard onto exchange is starting to slow down as well now. And then obviously we've seen some more news coming out here that we're going to have issues here in the UK after May, onboarding onto Binance UK, as Skrill have ended the relationship with Binance. So this is going to be another block, like stopping us investing our money into crypto. If Binance was the chosen exchange that you used in the UK, you're now going to experience an issue, buying crypto, putting fiat onto exchanges in the UK. Skrill is no longer partnering with Binance. So it's kind of now you need to start looking further forward. How are you going to get around this? How is the banks going to get around this?
They're going to make you buy CBDCs.
Well, you just killed my question before I asked it. I said there's a solution here, and what's it going to be? Well, it's going to be CBDCs.
Yep, that's going to be the transition. They're going to make you buy it, right? And then you can spend as much of it as you want, right? Because then it just feels better to the banks for you to be able to do that. So I read your mind.
You'd be deluded to think they weren't getting a cut of the pie if you were using their CBDC.
1,000%. Yeah. Oh, they're definitely getting that. And they can't wait to launch that shit. And so they're going to continue to collapse every fucking thing that they can until they've gotten to the point where we can only deposit $50 a day into Coinbase or Binance. And then the only way we can exceed that, 5,000 a day. Oh, if you use our CBDC, you can do 5,000 a day. No big deal. It's all good. That's basically what's going to happen. So,
yeah, I would say in the UK, the Santander, HSBC, Deutsche Bank said they were still willing to service crypto clients after banking failures, but they may have some restricted services. So there we go.
Let's talk a little bit banking here as well. Obviously, we've seen everything going on with SVB, the Silicon Valley Bank. What was the other one? Not Silvergate Bank. There's lots going on here. We're now seeing that the fallout coming off the back of this, that the shareholders are now suing the banks as well. So this is going to lead into more issues coming down the road with banks. I feel this is not the end of the story here. Was it Western Alliance was down 75 or 77% before the first bell rang on Monday? The bank stopped trading. Oh, look at the big picture here. There's so bloody much going on.
So look, I can't confirm this, but I saw something on TikTok that had that Andrew Ross Sorkin, I think is his name, from CNBC, basically said that the before the close of Friday, the Silicon Valley Bank CEO gave bonuses right before the FDIC closed them down. Gave bonuses to all of the management, bonus to himself. And I don't know if he gave it to the employees or not, but this dude's about to go to jail. Like for real.
What I would say is like the senior leadership at the bank were selling off their shares like up to 3 weeks before the collapse. Then you've got the bonuses that were given out before obviously the bank was taken over. So look, I saw, and I probably shouldn't have replied, but I saw that the SEC are now investigating, and this brings me on to my next damn rant, because Gary, who I think it's inevitable that I replace him at the SEC at some point. I'm just waiting for the phone call from the SEC, so I can get.
We'll take you.
Look, they'll have to pay me well, but I am available to do a stellar job and regulate the shit out of crypto so it does really, really well, and hopefully help turn the US economy around, because I think there's some things that could be done. But
can I help run your YouTube page, please?
Yeah, you could just fill in for me for a few weeks, because it won't take long.
You'll need a spokesman. Your spokesman.
I need a PA as well. But
yes,
look, what I would say is, like, all jokes aside, the trend is the SEC are reactive and not proactive. You can't be like reactive and fulfill your mission statement of, protecting investors, in my opinion. All they're doing is cleaning up. They're like a cleanup team. They're not really, putting in any procedures or processes that stop this stuff from happening. There should have been alarm bells ringing when all of the executive team and the leadership team at the bank were selling off their shares. How is this not like, ringing alarm bells for a regulator? Like, I look at it and I kind of feel like they are part of the problem. I've said it time and time again, like FTX collapsing. Like, I think the regulators are just as responsible as Sam Bankman-Fried, and I think they should be investigated. I certainly think the leadership should have been sacked by now. And if, there's people there that are worried to do it, employ me. I'll do it. No problem.
There's too many agencies that want to be spearheading the whole thing, right? So I think the problem is that FDIC wants it, SEC wants it, this thing wants it. Everybody wants to be able to do it. So I think in the background, everybody's still fighting with each other. And until someone comes across and says, you're in charge, I think that's ultimately going to continue to happen.
I'm quite happy to be that person.
Yeah. And I'm talking more in the crypto side. Now you're talking, I think, more just in general, like being reactive. I think they're way behind the curve. They're not watching this shit take place. I mean, I don't know. The whole fact that these guys took fucking bonuses.
It's disgusting.
The SEC recently, right? The SEC they're a lagging indicator, so they don't do anything. As you say, they react to what's happened. But when we've seen the likes of Luna happen, or
it's like crypto Twitter.
Forget Luna, right? They've seen FTX happen. That should have been a one and done. There should be nothing else like that ever happens again.
Yep.
Banks have collapsed before. This kind of thing should never happen again. It was kind of testament to what President Biden said in his speech before the bell rang on Monday, that the heads of the banks that have collapsed, the head of Silicon Valley, will go to prison for this. He's adamant that this man will go to prison for the damage that he has caused by letting Silicon Valley Bank get to the state it's in. I hope somebody holds up to his word for that, because the guy deserves to go to bank. The guy that runs the bank deserves to go to jail. There's so many people who are going to be affected by this. There's folk in the UK that are going to be affected by this. Obviously, many folk in the United States are going to be affected by this. For him to be able to sell off his assets weeks before this happened, make a hell of a lot of money.
Like, how do you think you're not going to get fucking caught, though? This is the thing. Like, same thing with like SBF. How do you not think you're going to get caught?
The thing is, the rules are set up in such a way that they're not breaking the law. And this is the problem, right? It's the same with all this insider trading, which is really blatantly obvious that it's going on. You know, you just have to look in the US government and you can just like, how are some of these people like, you know, selling off, and then like a huge dump happens, or they're buying on a dump knowing that actually there's a contract that's just about to be signed, and you know, all these you know, millions of dollars are going to be coming in, and all of a sudden it pumps. I just think that, you know, the regulators, as well as the leadership of these banks that are failing, and exchanges that are failing, they're also responsible, and they should also face jail time, I feel.
Definitely should. Definitely should.
Trying to find because it's to your comment that you just said, like, how this insider trading stuff. There's some big CEO. I think his last name's Barron. I cannot think of his first name, and I cannot remember which bank he's a part of. But he increased a significant position in a one of the banks or something like that yesterday at when it bottomed out, right? A huge position. You had to know that was coming, because first of all, you got to get your assets together, right? You got to get your money together in order to purchase those things. Now, granted, someone like that probably has a lot of money involved, but
I know, but like, just think about when they go to their bank and they have to ring up, spend hours on the phone, to explain that they would like to buy something that's, you know, not particularly looking too healthy right now. They read that scam, you know, script to them. This all takes time. I jest, of course.
What does that mean? I've heard that before.
What,
I jest. Yeah, I jest.
I joke.
Oh, okay. I've heard that before. I was like, I don't know what that means, but I'll ask one day when we're talking about fish and chips, or, you know, something like that.
Maybe one day we'll talk over fish and chips.
Someday.
That'd be on you, though.
What do we think is going to happen at the end of the month with the Fed? JB.
I would still like to see them. I would still like to see them do a 0.5. I think it would be healthy to see the 0.5. You know, excuse me, sorry. If we don't see this 0.5, what's going to happen? They're going to have to turn the printers on. Debt's going to increase. Inflation's going to increase. So much has to happen here. I really think, we called it before, and I'm calling it same again. We need to see the 0.5 happen to control the mess that is going on right now. Unfortunately, the sentiment right now is there's not going to be an increase. How unlikely? At least 0.25, I think, will happen. But I think in the space, it needs a 0.5 to happen to control the absolute fucking mess that is being created by, well, we know who by.
Why do you think the sentiment has changed so drastically over the last 7 days, from 0.5, then no hike, then 0.25, and now I think we're hovering around more leaning towards the 0.25 range. But even if you go to CNBC, they're like, who knows what the fuck's going to happen? JB, what do you think?
Well, I think that's absolute key as to what's going on right now, is they don't have a clue how to control the mess that they have created. They don't know if they're doing this, that, the next thing to control. Again, just as I said, they're the absolute mess that they have created. But for them not to increase the next time out, it's just going to lead to such a world of pain. Like, the dollar's going to be worth nothing because they're going to have to print so much to control the mess that has been created here. It's just, I can't stress enough how high they need to push this to control the absolute mess that they have created financially.
I think they were saying this morning that if they go 0.5, how many more banks collapse, right? So then if they do nothing, they're definitely in a hard fucking spot, right? Because if you do nothing and then inflation goes from 6% back to 6.8, right? Then you got to turn on again 0.75 basis points. So the market over the next like 2 or 3 months, 4 months, it's just going to be so fucking volatile. Like,
these banks shouldn't be able to collapse though, because this is down to the way they've handled the situation. They've capitalized on the situation. These banks, if we do see a 0.5, right, and the banks are struggling, that's their own fault for getting themselves in that kind of position. They should not be liquid. They should have the position available. So if interest rates increased, cross my words there, that they should be in a position stable enough to control, what decision gets made. A bank run's going to happen, maybe not to be expected. But if a bank run happens, the bank then becomes illiquid. They can't do anything about that. They need to control what's going on in the space. For them not to be in a position to control what may be around the corner, then that's the bank's own risk management fault.
Yeah. I think letting off the gas pedal is a horrible decision. I think it would just be all of these fucking rate hikes over the last, how long have they been doing it now? Over 12 months?
Yeah. Oh, easy.
It would all be so fucking pointless if they stop now, because two dumb fucking banks, no offense if you bank there, but the CEOs fucked that up. The Fed didn't fuck that up. The CEOs fucked that up. Right? So why does the rest of the fucking states and world have to be screwed over because a couple banks CEOs are greedy as fuck and don't know what they're doing, apparently, right? They're not adjusting for all these rate hikes, basically. I hope the Fed doesn't slow down. I really don't. I think we would go backwards, and I'm so sick and tired of paying $14 for fucking breakfast every day. Like, even look, I just went to my paint store, okay, to get materials, right? And they do a sale every 6 months. They do a big 35% off sale. Stop making fun of my Chick-fil-A fucking breakfast, okay? I love my Chick-fil-A breakfast, and I wish Chick-fil-A would sponsor us, because I will talk about you all the time. But the store manager at the Sherwin-Williams, she said prices are going up. I said, what do you mean prices are going up? When are they going up? I said, aren't they high enough? She said, no, they're going to be raising them within the next 3 months. And she said she has a good store manager friend at Home Depot. They just got a call from corporate that says their prices are going up again. So it's crazy to me. All this bear market rally and all this, they are going to try to make as many people lose their jobs as possible. I guarantee it. Right? They're going to try to get us all in a fucked off situation. Chris, are you back?
I'm back.
Welcome back. What's your thought? What's your thoughts on what I just said?
I agree to a point. I think that we're going to find out whether we've got weak people in charge or strong people in charge. And I think I don't know where I kind of sit on that at the moment, like whether they're weak or whether they're strong. I imagine they're probably weak. I hope I'm being naive there, but I have no confidence purely on the basis of the last one. But I agree. The flip-flopping is because stuff is breaking, but it's not broken. Like a couple of banks, I think, that is collateral damage. But I think that they need to continue. If they don't, we're still going to have not the same problems, but we're still going to have problems, big problems. I think all you're doing is kicking the can down the road, and you're going to be in this scenario for much longer, unless you have some sort of reset, which again is another possibility. You can't just print your way out of this. I don't feel.
I think turning off the hikes is a way for them to print their way out of it.
They can't print their way out of it.
Well, no, you can't at this point. I don't think so.
No, like, you've made your bed, and at the moment they're laying in it, but they want to get out of bed, but they can't. That's kind of how I see it.
I think we're very close to election year also, very close. So I think the agendas are going to be for everyone to make the general population happy, right? So providing liquidity to make sure everybody's deposits go through, say 10 more banks that happens to, they're going to continue to paint this pretty picture like nothing's fucking wrong. That's going to be the thing.
How do you feel about this one, Ed? And obviously you're based in America. Would the previous regime let this happen? For all the hate that Donald Trump got, I didn't like the guy personally, but would this have happened under Trump's watch? I'm
going to plead the fifth because I don't talk politics.
What have we just sat and done for the last half an hour?
I never said Biden and I never said Trump, and I'm not getting fucking roasted in the comments for choosing a side.
No,
right?
Not to choose a side, but do you feel that it would have got this way with Trump in power? Chris?
No, definitely not.
A money man knows money.
I'll say no.
Yeah, look, it's only because of the understanding of like loopholes, money, business, Look, I'm not one for politics either, but like he brought peace, and I think that we probably wouldn't be in half the situation we're in now had he remained in charge. So yeah, that's the only reason behind it.
Come over to our side though. Like, I think with us having Rishi Sunak in charge, again, another man that knows money, I do think that we are maybe a bit better off than what we would have been with the last clown that was in charge. I do feel like we'd be in a much worse place if Bobo Johnson was still in charge. I'm kind of happy that Sunak's kind of watching everything that's going on over here. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think we're better off with Sunak over Johnson.
I think, having like somebody that understands finance to that level is, something that is very much needed right now. But like my thoughts are, there's a lot of corruption within the UK government as well as the US government. It's just my opinion, not backing it up with anything. But yeah, look, I've seen stuff like firsthand. It makes me scratch my head, and I think what on earth and how on earth have these people got to the positions that they're in? But I think we're about 45 minutes roughly into the podcast. Let's look at wrapping things up. Mike, what do you think is going to happen next? With the prices of Bitcoin.
I think I don't know, man. Since we've been on this podcast, I've watched the Dow Jones get cut in half already. So like if there were signs of bullish times and it's still not continuing to pump today, for me, I think it's coming to an end. I think we'll start heading down pretty soon. Some other bank will break or something will break, and then all of these gains that we saw today it's going to go downhill. But I still think we got to go down. I just don't think there's an environment right now that welcomes any sort of bull market at all. Too much confusion out there. Way too much.
JB, thoughts?
So let's quickly talk today in particular. This podcast is going out a day after we record it. So the pump that happened today at 26,000, how much do you think that scalped in liquidations?
200 million.
320 million in 24 hours. So what that tells us, it's been a mass liquidity grab. I still think there is a little bit more to come. I've put the chart out into the Discord. You can see obviously where my thoughts are with it. Overall sentiment for me, it's still target 10k. I think we're going to see 10. I actually think we're going to see less than 10k. My feeling has not changed. The structure is there or thereabout in place for it. But for me right now, it's target 10k.
So do we chalk up 2023 to just sideways trading?
No. 2023 started off with a nice pump, and then you're going to see the mother of dumps.
Chris, give us your final thoughts and then wrap it up for us.
Yeah, I feel that it's going to seem like quite bullish. I really want to kind of see what these decisions, what decisions are made, how the market reacts to the decisions that are made. But I'm still with the thought process that the market can't possibly be bullish in this sort of landscape. I feel that if the right decisions are made, it'll play out just like we were expecting it to. If we have people that are weak and unable to pull the trigger and do what is needed to be done, then I think short to medium term bullish, long term really, really, really bearish.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. All right, gentlemen, pleasure doing a podcast with y'all today. JB, yes.
We cannot wrap this podcast up without a massive thank you to the community. 3,000. We have hit 3,000 here on the podcast. It took a little while for the couple of issues, but we've hit 3,000, guys.
Yeah, we have to do a party at 10,000.
Yeah. But listen, guys.
Maybe I'll fly to the UK for that.
Mega volatile in the space right now. I will always leave you the exact same thing. If you are going to trade, please trade safely. Have a really nice tight stop loss. Make great gains with BitGet trading competitions live. We can see good numbers coming back on that. So keep smashing that competition, guys. Stay safe in the space. We'll catch you up next time.
Take care.
Bye.